Committee on Parole is called to order. Today's date is July 15, 2026, and the time is 9:05 a.m. My name is Danny Barra, serving as your chairman today. My colleagues on today's panel are Mr. Tillis to my left and Mr. Ledoux to my right. The panel today at headquarters in Baton Rouge. Headquarters staff, please introduce yourself for the record.
Deputy Warden Rochelle Ambo.
Reginald Admiral, classification.
Thank you. Our
Parole Williams, Sherelle, she came before.
All right, today our remote location is Louisiana State Penitentiary at Angola. With the staff there, please introduce themselves. Sorry about that. Headquarters, Miss Heck. All right,
Deputy Warden Ambo.
go ahead.
Reginald Admiral, classification.
Thank you again. Today we're going to hold a parole hearing for Mr. Spencer Henry. Mr. Henry, would you please introduce yourself and full name for the record?
We have Cedric Howard.
Spencer Howard. Okay. Howard, would you please introduce yourself for the record?
Cedric Dwayne Howard, number 382491.
All right, I'm going to give you a brief explanation of the process. I'm going to read some information into the record, ask you to verify it. We're going to give you a chance to speak and tell us what you did to cause your incarceration and why you should be released early. We're going to get information from the warden and the staff. We're going to allow public supporters and public opposition. The DA will make a statement and we will have a parole interview conducted by Mr. Tillis.
Yes,
So
sir.
let's begin. Today, we have for parole consideration Cedric Dwayne Howard, DOC 382491, who is a first felony offender, was convicted of first-degree murder, and on 7/14/97, 5205, and 6/15/17 was sentenced to death, then to life without parole, then to life with parole in Rapides Parish. Your parole eligibility date is 1/9/20. Good time date is not applicable, and your full term would be life. That information sound correct to you?
Yes, sir.
Right. All right, so you'll be the first one to talk. Tell us what you did to cause your incarceration and what you've done since then that we should release you.
I was originally charged with first-degree murder of Mr. Rita Raveling. I have then returned my my behavior into an knackeable young man, and I Lord, and I would ask that the people of the board find it in their hearts to forgive me for all of my sins and give me a chance to help others.
All right. We have several people in support of you. So
Yes,
we'll
sir.
start off with number one, Carrie Meyer with the Louisiana Parole Project.
Good morning, Kerry Myers with the Louisiana Parole Project. I'm here to let the board know that we are in support of Mr. Howard's parole. Mr. Howard, as you know, was 16 at the time of this offense. He has used his years, his 32 years of incarceration, to transform himself from an immature, immature, trauma-informed child to a mature adult who has completed numerous rehabilitation programs, who has become a trustee, who is a student in New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary. He's received letters of support from family, from institutional staff. he has the support of Parole Project, and we understand fully what Mr. Howard's needs upon release would be. We've evaluated Mr. Howard. We have a plan, a very personalized reentry plan for him. He will get a case manager, a coach to speak to help guide him through his transition. We're prepared to house Mr. Howard in our program for as long as needed, or this board would determine. He has shown through his work during his incarceration, through his ministry, through his education, through his training, through getting his GED, his collision repair certifications, the anger management, living in balance, CPR, victim awareness, moral compass, the programs. We'll continue that. We'll continue that on his reentry with the very practical needs that will need to be met through technology and social norms, financial literacy and planning, the case management, the
It's just the internet froze up. It's fine.
I think he's frozen.
All right, it appears that Mr. Mars is frozen up. We'll come back to him.
am I back?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry. We may have some unstable internet connection, but again, just to sum it up, we're prepared to support Mr. Howard's transition for as long as necessary. We have a specialized case plan for him, and we would urge this board to consider his age at the time, his work during his incarceration, his reentry plan, and grant his parole today.
thank you very much. Appreciate your input. We'll go next to Miss Estella Deal, who's with us on Zoom, the offender's sister. Go ahead.
Good morning.
What would you like this panel to know? Go ahead and have your say.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Estella Deal. I'm Cedric's sister, and I'm asking and requesting that the board would grant his parole. He is a changed young man from my little brother that I did know. He has completed a lot of training there, as far as, like Mr. Myers was saying, he's been doing very well with the biblical college, and I think he did try getting his driver's license as well, but he's not the person that he was 32 years ago. And I want to thank you for the opportunity of giving him a chance at parole.
Thank you very much. All right, we also have Howard Lavallee, a friend who is in support and like to speak on Zoom. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Good.
My name is Albert Lavallee, and I first want to thank y'all for giving me a second chance. I left Angola 3 years ago, and I've been, taking care of pretty good myself and everything. And I want to thank y'all for giving me that second chance. I met Cedric probably 20 years ago as a kid, coming on death row. Cedric was a troubled young man, and I kind of took him in, and to kind of keep him out of trouble and talk to him. And Cedric has always, tried, but peer pressure was there as a kid. And to the step for for your wrong, try to do something right. And Cedric, did that, just constantly came up the ladder. I did hobby craft. Every time I worked in the shop or whatever, Cedric made a way. Even though he had physical disabilities, Cedric always made a way to try to help me take care of something so he can, be productive and also, learn something new each day. I'm just in support, whatever Cedric need to transition. I'm gonna be willing to give up something so that I can, help him out in any way that if the board was to grant him parole. I thank y'all for giving me that time to speak, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We also have in support Mr. Robert Lancaster, the attorney. Would you speak, give us what you have to say, Mr. Lancaster?
Thank you, Mr. Barra and members of the committee. At 16, Cedric's life was, defined by crime, violence, and poor choices. He was a very troubled youth. Prison's been his turning point. In the packet that I submitted before the committee and the brief, I think presents issues that Cedric faced as a child with his family and the situations that placed him in. Bailey Clark, a student at LSU, is in the audience. She assisted in putting together that packet. But the cases that allowed Cedric to come before you, those cases from the U.S. Supreme Court, Miller, Montgomery, where the court determined that youth were different from adults, and the adult system needed to treat those youth differently. And one thing that it noted about youth in creating that categorical difference was that children are impulsive, they're vulnerable to outside influences, and they're often shaped by circumstances beyond their control. And that was Cedric's childhood. He didn't have stability. He didn't have guidance. There, significant abuse, neglect, addiction by those who needed to care for him, violence, and also just a lot of disruption, movement back and forth. And none of this excuses the crime, excuses Cedric's behavior, but it does provide some insight into how a teenager kind of comes to believe that that's normal. That toughness, the streets are sort of normalized behavior. And that is the perspective he had at the time that this crime occurred. And that's the perspective that's changed over 32 years of incarceration. His life is really transitioned through education and faith, which his record in prison demonstrates. He obtained his GED. He's enrolled in Bible college. He's in his second year. Mr. Myers outlined most of Cedric's other programming, and that is who he is, the man that comes before you, 48 years old today. The Parole Project will be able to provide Cedric with all of the assistance that he needs, the services that ensure that the things that he's done in prison, which has set him up for success, will be carried through, and that he will be successful. The evidence, and I hope your interview with him demonstrates that he has matured, he's grown, and that rehabilitation has served him well. For those reasons, we respectfully request that the committee grant his parole today with the residency plan to the Louisiana Parole Project under whatever conditions you deem appropriate.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. We also have in support Adrian Hutchinson, an attorney who is in support on Zoom, but not speaking today. All right. In opposition, we have Sharon Yarborough, the niece of the victim. Would you please speak?
Morning to you, members of the club. My name is Sharon Gina Yorker. Rita Gina Ramley was my father's sister and my loving aunt. My aunt was murdered by a rotten bunch, a gang of mean, hateful guys, planned to murderously and for money. And as part of that gang activity, I know that you all know who, why, when, how all these guys murdered my aunt. It's heartbreaking for me to speak on that subject. And so I'm going to skip that one. I would like for you to know that how this murder hurt myself, my husband, my children, who were very close to their great aunt. I went through hospital therapy for many months. A medical doctor insisted that I get therapy. My insurance didn't cover the therapy at all. My daughter and my son also had to seek therapy. My son was with the offender police officer, and they moved a heavy piece of furniture from some that the gang had put in front of the bedroom closet. My son standing like my murder was just a body and seeing me loving aunt lying there in the closet with blood all over me. Very much. Me, my husband, and you're going to make every court hearing for each one of these gatherings. I want you to know that this murder is not only broken our hearts, not only made us fear to go out and not knowing who had murdered our beloved aunt. These families were very hard to get through. Did not get to see my aunt because the funeral home will not open the casket. So we were not able to tell her goodbye. We couldn't touch her hand, tell her how much we loved her. It was hard to stand behind the closed casket and feel the tears rolling down your face and not to see us. We have been to every court hearing for all of these hateful guys to make sure that the district attorneys meet what our wishes are. As CEDRIC HOWARD sentence, he asked the judge to give him the death penalty because he didn't want to spend life in prison. It's a shame that now CEDRIC HOWARD is asking for parole. I'm begging you, as members of this board, to not give him. I ask our God to send my loving aunt back to us. She didn't have a chance to come back to us because CEDRIC HOWARD and his gang buddies saw to it that she would never see us again. I thank you, borough members, for this opportunity to speak here today. And I pray that you will deny CEDRIC HOWARD's request for parole. He has no more.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Ms. Melissa Phillips in opposition, a great niece of the victim.
Good morning. I'm Melissa Phillips, the great niece of the community for your rabbi. I'm not the victim of this crime, but I have become a victim because of the crime. In fact, my whole family, all 5 generations, are victims of CEDRIC HOWARD's actions. I'm here today to greatly oppose the role of CEDRIC HOWARD and to make you aware of how it's affected me. My sense of security changed. If someone can murder an 82-year-old woman who lived her life for Christ, same thing could happen to me. Extremely uncomfortable towards trusting strangers. I've been left with unanswered questions, anger, and a desire for justice in addition to sadness. Because of my decision to get a victim's impact statement in some of the trials I wasn't allowed to attend. Imagine having to read the autopsy report to learn what happened to your loved one. That's what I had to do. I endured many nights, sleepless nights, and experienced horror and terrors. I rarely left my house because of fear. I was robbed of my sense of security. My first marriage failed because he was unable to comprehend the amount of fear I had. I believe my husband at the time was unable to protect me. I was scared when I heard the name Regal Rabbi. All I could see was the murder of Regal Rabbi in my old man. I couldn't get past those horrific thoughts to be able to remember her. I can only remember what happened to her. re-victimized every time I have to attend a parole hearing, a court hearing, or anything to do with the case. And remember, there was 9 offenders in this case. So that leaves you numb for days afterwards. It angers me to know that these offenders have free education opportunities when I have to work many hours to put my children through college. Just believe that there's more rights for the offenders than there are for the victims. We should not rank wrong.
All right, we also have Mr. Stephen Phillips, a great nephew of the victim, Rita Ravelay.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. My name is Steve Phillips. I'm Melissa's husband, and Rita was, of course, her great aunt. I consider mine as well. I first learned about this horrific, barbaric crime, like most of the rest of our community did. Word around the neighborhood started coming out of news media. It was one of the worst, most horrific crimes that we had ever had in Central Tennessee, probably to this day. I later became employee of the Bradley's Parish Sheriff's Office, where I've been for 26 years. Going through the police academy, one of the portions of our training that we went through covered this particular case, and this horrific, barbaric crime. I went to investigations and I've been there for almost 18 years now. First 8.5 were sex crimes, crimes against children, home cases. The worst of the worst sat across from some of the people that make you ill just to mention their name, a little talk. And I've become a very good judge of character on an individual. And what I have learned with this individual right here, not once have I heard him say, "I'm sorry." Not once when you asked him this morning, "What got you here?" did he say, "I killed Rita Ravelay and this is how I done it." Because he wants to leave out the part or review the case file, or CEDRIC's in particular, where he was he was convicted of it. One of the first to strike Rita when she entered her, allowed them to enter the home. He strangled her with a piece of wire around her neck. He's not going to tell you that. The people that speak up for him are not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that he also struck her multiple times in the head with what they first called a pipe, but they believe was going to be a weed eater shaft that was recovered at the scene. I believe it was Dr. McCormick was our pathologist at the time. Any of the blows and lacerations from the knife wounds and the blunt force trauma to the head would have been more than enough to kill 82-year-old Rita, who was only there because she didn't make it to mass anymore. She went to church. He's not going to tell you that. None of his people are going to tell you that. He cheated death because of our U.S. Supreme Court said we cannot give death to a juvenile. You cannot make me as a reasonable, common person outside of this whole group of connection believe that he did not know at 16 and a half, almost 17 years old, that it wasn't right to come in with 9 people and kill Rita Ravelay for her money, for a gang initiation. Another one wanted her car. It wasn't right to do it. You can't tell me he had a bad childhood and that made it okay to do these, and not just horrific, barbaric. And I assure you, I've worked some terrible cases. You'll hear from Mr. Terrell. He knows his son. But I was there before Mr. Terrell became AD. And I promise you, this is one of the worst. Never once have I heard him say, "I'm sorry." This morning he asked for y'all to forgive him. Never once did he ask for the family. Can you at least have a little mercy and forgive me? Not even I'm messed up, not even I'm sorry. All I can say is, through my experience, if you start off with murder, where do you have to graduate to next if you commit another crime? What's going to be is deterrent not to. He was given life, he beat life. Thanks to Miller, he gets life with benefit. He done great in church. Let him mentor some people when they go down on the farm. Let them do that. They talk about all those projects, but I've yet to hear this morning say, "What projects did he do? He got his GED, great. That's fine. Hope he did in 32 years." You go into the ministry, I can't tell you the years I've worked in corrections prior to going to the uniform division, how many people caught religion when they went to jail. They found their family, but as soon as they got out, they forgot exactly who they were. Because what do they have to lose? He even made a video about one of his buddies down in Angola that came by. Because he hung out with him in DC one, we was locked up there, waiting to go to trial and raise his case. I'm sorry, a little emotional about it. It's not just this case, it's other cases. He was well old enough to know, by himself or with a group of individuals. You don't kill someone, let alone someone that was only there because you didn't make it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We also have Mr. Philip Terrell, the Refuge Parish PA, who'd like to speak. Good morning, Mr. Terrell.
You know, it's going to be very difficult for me now to make when you sort of a coaching argument. Y'all have read all the facts. I can't say to deal with the record. First of all, I'll agree with Detective Phillips that this has got to be the most heinous crime in here. Parole was a defenseless 82-year-old was preyed upon by predators. Simple as that. If this perpetrator's trial, evidence was deduced that from one of the other participants' testimony in court that he says, this perpetrator, Mr. Howard, says, let's go ahead and kill that old lady and take a car. That's not an impulsive use, that's a murder. And while everybody who works for me, the vast majority of law enforcement, thought that when the Supreme Court did away with potential death penalty for juveniles, you got that wrong. My community thinks that's wrong. In addition to that, when Miller Montgomery came out, first of all, I point out that Miller Montgomery doesn't say he's entitled to parole, it says he's eligible. Parole should not apply to Mr. Howard. He committed the most horrible act on a completely innocent, helpless victim. He choked her with a wire, he stabbed her, he beat her with a piece of pipe. That's not the kind of person we need to have on our streets. I was going to say a lot more, but Stephen already said it all. And I think coming from him, y'all need to hear it again from me. We would just, law enforcement and the citizens of Refuge Parish would just implore you that he got the appropriate penalty the first time. But because of rulings that we disagree with, he got a break. Mr. Raveley never got a break. So thank y'all. I had a whole bunch of notes that I made this morning and last night, but Stephen said it all already, so I'm not going to waste any of y'all's time. Please consider not granting this offender any relief at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We also have Wayne Yarborough, who's here in opposition. He's a great nephew of the victim, but he will not be speaking. Morton, do y'all have any input regarding this offender?
So a lot of the things that were already mentioned, I'm not gonna go into. He has a total of 60 DV reports. His last one was on 6/23/23 for Rule 10. Staff say he cooperates with them, he follows rules, he respects authority, and he has a positive attitude.
And a Rule 10 violation, what, is that a fighting violation?
A simple fight, yes, sir.
We also have opposition from the judge in this case. As you heard, the district attorney's office is opposed. The sheriff's office is opposed due to the violent crime against an elderly victim. The chief of police is opposed. He remembered as one of Alexandria's most high profile and violent homicides. We also have a retired chief of police who, Mr. Jared King, who wrote a opposition letter. We also have opposition from the Attorney General's office to your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis, so he's going to begin the questioning, and he will be the one to cast the first vote.
Good morning, Mr. Howard. How are you?
Excuse. No, the movement. Excuse me, board. Mr. Howard is asking for a brief break. He needs to run to the restroom. I know this is not typical, but he needs a moment.
Sure.
If the board can give us just a moment. Thank you.
Sure.
Got it. Right.
Yeah.
All right, we're back to the hearing on Mr. Howard. Mr. Tillis was about to proceed with questions.
Good morning, Mr. Howard. How are you?
I'm fine.
Tell me something about yourself. What have you been doing the last 32 years while incarcerated?
Well, when I first came here, I was mad at the world for basically not hearing my side of the story. But as I've graduated, I became a better person. I've sat down and God has taught me the things in which I should have seen on the streets, but I was too thick-headed to understand. So basically I put myself into the getting to know God and getting to know my family better. And I've basically graduated all these classes that I've done, but I haven't put them first. I've put basically trying to get myself together first and trying to get others first, trying to get others better. And that has basically kept me into knowing myself.
Tell us your side of the story then. I got a minute.
I basically, I was doing the majority of the stuff y'all said, but as far as the actual crime, I wasn't a part of. I basically had a conversation with some of the people that was convicted with me. I basically had a conversation with them, and about 2 weeks, about a week, something like that, and I got in a fight with a guy named Ricky Schwafford because he said that I was trying to do my business, you know. So I basically, if you want to say, I basically beat him up. So that's what led him into testifying against me in my trial, you know. But I'm not saying that he was wrong because it's all God's plan. You know what I'm saying? But I wish I would have learned beforehand that I can't do it my way and get away with with the things that I was doing. So God had to set me down in order to make me listen. But in the meantime, I basically graduated with my GED with flying colors. I've done countless things like getting CPR's license, my faith base, graduating, being a part of NOBTS, getting closer with God, getting closer with the people in my life and even people outside of my life, you know. And it's just part of who I am now.
Well, tell me this,
Yes, sir.
which courses or classes you took impact you the most?
CPR, my CPR class, because it helps me to get close to people in whom I'm able to help. And it's like they need me, but they also need something else. And I feel that if I can give them that, then they'll be that much closer to getting where God wants them to be.
How old were you at the time when this crime occurred?
I was 16, sir.
So what have you learned about this crime that was committed?
Sir?
What have you learned about this crime that was committed?
I basically learned that it was a tragedy, and I wouldn't want anyone to do that to my family. So I understand that her family is adamant about me staying here. But I want to assure them that if I'm gonna be released, that I promised that I would try everything in my power to stop others from following into my footsteps.
What do you plan to do if released? Where do you plan to go?
First off, to get a job, to support myself, to help support my sister. She's been there with me since the start, you know. Being with the Parole Project, I think they're godsend. I never knew anything about them besides others telling me about them, but they've been a godsend just in this little time that they've been here. So I promise to work hard and try my best to make them proud of me as well as the world, and to just do my thing, try to save people as I go or help someone, because the world is full of people that needs help.
And my colleagues got any questions?
Yeah. That fighting write-up that you got on March 23rd of 23. What are the details involved in that situation?
It wasn't a fight, it was an actual argument. But they wrote it up as a fight because they have no such thing as an argument in the rule book. And if I think y'all have a packet to where Mr. Stanley Green wrote about the argument in there. And we're now in the Bible college together. Both of us have been doing 2 years, and we're I'm not gonna say we're very close, but we are close. You know, he does his thing and I do my thing, but at times we collaborate with each other. You know, he helps me out. Mostly he helps me out, you know, but I thank him for that.
Okay, let me ask it to you again. What are the details of that argument? What was that all about?
We was arguing about the stories, about the young and the restless.
Over nothing.
Over nothing.
And P. Stafford Angola felt it was so serious over nothing to write you up? You didn't deserve written up?
I'm not gonna say that we didn't deserve it, but we didn't deserve the father's amount of punishment that they gave us.
Was that the first time y'all were arguing?
Yes, sir. We just got loud then.
Derek?
No.
I read through your case last night. How remorseful are you about the situation that happened?
I'm very remorseful because that could have been someone like my grandmother, Miss Dorothy Lucas. Miss Rita Raveles, she seems to be the average, well, the above average grandmother, the above average mother. And believe me, if that would happen to my grandmother, I would have the same kind amount of feelings that they have towards me. But I'm just asking that they put all that aside and they say that they love God and ask themselves, what would God do in a situation like this? I've been locked down 32 years. I'm just asking for a chance to get out of here and show them what I've learned.
Okay. All right. No more questions. The board is ready to vote. You have the first vote.
My vote today is going to be to grant to the Louisiana Parole Project. I realize that 16-year-olds do some horrible things. 32 years has, I hope within 32 years, you've learned to do the right thing. So my vote today is to grant.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ledoux?
Mr. Howard,
Yes, ma'am.
I see you're moving in the right direction. I really believe you're moving in the direction of restoring who you need to be in society. Since 2019, you've had 5 write-ups.
Yes, ma'am.
You are currently, if I'm not mistaken, the Novitz program is a 4-year program. Is that correct?
Ma'am.
The Bible College program, how long is that? You're a sophomore? You've
Yes,
got 2.
ma'am.
Mine is going to be to deny your parole. I want to acknowledge that you have done some good work, okay? Your GED, going to Bible college, all of those things are really good. I am not prepared today to grant parole. And so my vote is to deny, but I don't want that to set you back.
when you come back to this board, I would hope that you would not have had any write-ups since that 23 write-up. You've completed your novits, and today my vote is to deny.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, I vote to deny parole 2 based on, you already had a break when you got off the death penalty. You have violent, extremely violent crime, strong victim opposition, and strong law enforcement opposition. But I will say, like Mr. Ledoux says, keep up the work you're doing there, because.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Al.
What this means today is, Mr. Howard, that the parole has been denied, and this will conclude our business with you at 9:51 a.m.
God bless you.
Thank you.
The Committee on Parole is called to order. Today's date is July 15, 2026, and the time is 10 o'clock a.m. My name is Danny Barra, serving as your chairman today. My colleagues are the panel are Mr. Tillis to my left and Ms. Ledoux to my right. We're still all at the Baton Rouge headquarters, and our remote location is still at Louisiana State Penitentiary, Angola. We're here to do a hearing on Spencer Henry. Mr. Henry, would you please introduce yourself, state your full name and DOC number for the record?
My name is Spencer Henry, number 344747.
Right. I'll give you a brief explanation of the process. I'm going to read some information, ask you to verify it. We're going to give you a chance to speak and tell us what you did to cause your incarceration and why should you be released. We'll have input from the warden, we'll have input from the public, we'll have input from supporters in a favor and opposition, and we'll conduct a parole interview. So let's begin. Today we have for parole consideration Spencer Henry, who is a first felony offender who was convicted of second-degree murder and on September 19th, 94, was sentenced to serve life without benefit of probation or parole. The sentence was commuted on 2/25/26 by Governor Landry in Ascension Parish. The parole eligibility date is February 12th, 26. The good time date is 7/23/43, and your full term date is 1/21/93. Does this sound correct to you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so first question. Tell us what you did to cause yourself to be incarcerated and what you've done since then that would make us want to release you early.
Well, can you repeat the question, please, sir?
What did you do to get yourself in trouble? Why are you in jail? What you did? I'll break it up in two. After you answer that one, I'll give you the second.
I was charged, second-degree murder for well, first of all, I'd just like to thank this board for giving me this opportunity. And it was the family of Charles Singleton. I just want to acknowledge them first before I give what I've done. And I'm excuse me because I'm nervous right now, but Charles, me and Charles had a dispute, and we had a physical confrontation. Led to us get into it with a physical confrontation, and I pulled out my gun and shot Charles because he was getting the best of me. And I regret every moment and minute that I done this here. And it hurts me to even talk about it because I know I took a life, and I think about his family a lot, and it's hard because I know what they're going through by me taking the life of their loved one, man. And I know my decision, man, I could have made a better decision. And I just thank God, man, for his family because they forgive me for what I've done. And that speaks volumes. And I'm here today to let them know that every day I live and wake up, they'll be a part of my everyday life. And like I said, I just thank God for them. And because they didn't have to forgive me. And they didn't have to being supportive of me being released. But I just thank God for them. And it just, man, if I could turn back the hands of time, I promise you I would. I would have made a better decision. And if I wouldn't have purchased that gun, none of this would have happened. And that's just a terrible decision. And man, his family, I just think about his family always, all the time. I made the worst decision of my life.
What you've done since then to make
But
us,
since then, well, over the 32 years of my incarceration, you know, I've been better, working hard to prepare myself, become a better man, because I was 20 years old then, and not to make no excuse, but since I'm 52 years old now, I have taken the opportunities and the offers, the trades that was offered to me and the programs I was able to take. It taught me a valuable lesson, and I have prepared myself to make a successful transition back into society. And with the support of my family, my friends in the community, and Parole Project accepting me as a client, I'm well prepared to be productive and prepared to follow every condition of parole. And I definitely will honor the second chance given to me if granted parole. Thank you.
all right? Warden, do y'all have any input about his behavior there?
Yes, sir. Good morning. How you doing today?
Good.
Spencer's been with us 32 years. He's very dependable. He works over at warehouse, at the CPP warehouse. You have to be trustworthy to work in there. He handles a lot of merchandise. He hasn't had a DB report since 2012. He's a Class A trustee. He lives at Camp F. He's taken advantage of many of our self-help programs. He's had 100 hours living in balance, anger management, sex offender treatment 3 and 4, I believe. Thinking for a change, victim awareness, letter training, Malachi Dads. He wails. He's been to auto tech school and horticulture school. So he's adjusted well. He's no problem with us. He's very trustworthy, very dependable. Goes to work every day.
Thank you, Warden. Thanks for attending. Here we have in support several people who would like to speak. We'll go ahead and start with Kenny Leslie, a friend.
Yes, stand up.
You can do it
You
from
can
the
stand right
seat.
there. They can hear you.
It'll pick up
Okay.
on the mic.
Good morning, board. Just glad to be here today, and I'm a proud supporter of Spencer. He's been a friend of mine for the last 20+ years. I've also was incarcerated for 22 years, and I've been released for almost 3 now, and my life is doing great. And I am here not for me today, I'm here for my friend. And as a supporter, not only at this hearing, but on the street. So, in life, as you transition back into society, there's a lot of anxieties and unknowns that you have to face, but you get through them with the right support. And I had a great support system. I had family. Spencer has great family. They're here for him. I have friends. He has friends. He has great friends out there. Had the Louisiana Parole Project, which greatly helped me get back and relax and some of the things that I wasn't dealing with through all the years. So, but as a note, I would like to say that I trained Henry in greenhouse production and pest management here at Angola. And he had responsibilities every day. And he had to do those things or we couldn't be productive. You know, the plants would suffer, we wouldn't be able to make funds for the program or nothing. So he was very diligent in his work. So I even remember sometimes he said, Leslie, just get out the way, I got this. And, you know, and I was glad to have that that boldness and confidence in his abilities, you know. So I know that he'll do well in the workforce once he's released, you know. So another thing that I've talked to him about is like the hidden things. And we learned this through some of the programming here is like thinking for a change. You know, you have the iceberg effect where you got the Titanic going, they floating around, everything looks great, look at a pretty iceberg, but you don't, there's unseen forces underneath the water, which caused the Titanic to sink, we all know. And such is life, you know. So when you go through life, you have to go through it one day at a time. Take it easy. When things happen, don't let it get out, blow it out of proportion, handle it accordingly, you know, and so on. And then, you know, you got cognitive thinking and so forth. And that's think before you speak and stuff like that, you know, and think before you do, of course. And it served me well. The main thing I've gave to my friend is first thing he needs to do once he's settled in is to find a good church, get welcomed in, you know, and start giving God the glory because he has to carry that burden just like I do every day of what happened and what he's done. So if you carry that burden and remember that, then you appreciate the days when you walk out the door and you're able to look. Excuse me, I'm getting emotional. You look up in the sky and see the stars and how beautiful God has created and how great this world really is, regardless. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Shalandra Henry Darcy, cousin, in support.
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, go to the podium, yes, but.
First, I would like to give thanks to God, second to everyone who's on the board, third, the Faithful family. I'm not really a big public speaker, but I've been by my cousin's side since this happened, right along with the Faithful family, because we all grew up together. And I know that Spencer would do extremely well once he's released. He's been incarcerated long enough where we have 4 kids. That's my husband, high school sweetheart for 38 years. Today is our anniversary. And those 4 kids that have grown up, they went through college. The oldest, she's in law enforcement, the second, psychology, the third, engineer, and the youngest, in Ventusville. But he has a huge support. We come from a big family. Our grandmother had 18 children, and amongst the 18, his dad and my dad are brothers, and he had extremely large support system out there, and everybody is willing to pitch in and help keep him on the right path. And need be to say, I just want to thank y'all again for having us here under these circumstances. Thank y'all.
Thank you. We also have in support, Mr. Kerry Myers with the Parole Project.
Good morning, Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. We're here for Spencer Henry and urge this board to grant his parole based on multiple things. His extraordinarily good record during incarceration. He's been a trustee for 9 years. He hasn't had a disciplinary infraction in 14. He's earned his GED. He's been certified in welding and auto technology and in horticulture. He didn't stop at one. He just continued to earn as many credentials as he could. He works in a very trusted position, as Warden Vanoy said. He's been incarcerated for 32 years, and he is a true first offender. You can see his remorse for his actions. It is real. It's sincere. Mr. Henry has not only the support of Parole Project and the assistance and the programs that Parole Project will make available to him during his transition. He also has, as you just heard, has an extremely strong network outside there. Once he leaves Parole Project, he has a home to go to. He has a supportive family. We would just ask this board to consider the circumstances in its totality, the remorse that he has, the forgiveness that he's received, the work that he's done, and the support systems that he has. Should this board grant him parole, and make the decision to grant his parole today.
Thank you. Right, and we also have Miss Adrienne Hutchinson, attorney, in support.
Good morning, board. So I won't rehash everything that everyone has already said, but what I would like to do is tie it all together for you. Spencer comes before the committee a little over a year after this board recommended his sentence be commuted. At that time, Spencer was able to show genuine remorse, his strong work ethic, and actual rehabilitation, which I believe you've seen and heard today as well. Before you is a man who's confronted the deficiencies of his life before prison, and has taken programming to correct those deficiencies and place those learnings into practice in his everyday life. I know Ms. Ledoux often says in these hearings that you all weigh various things when you look at a person and make a determination on whether or not they're ready to re-enter society. And as Warden Vanoy has gone over all the programming that Spencer has taken, the programming that directly relate to the crime, anger management, living in balance, victim awareness, those classes that he's been able to use to refocus and adjust his thinking. As Carrie spoke about, he has immediate employable skills, right? We know we want people to re-enter society and be able to go to work. Warden Vanoy has talked about his work ethic, and in the time between his last hearing and now, he's received another recommendation or recognition for his work in that processing plant. The other thing I know that you look at is the reentry plan. Mr. Spencer has been incarcerated longer than he was free. And so the Parole Project is able to step in because we know that those changes for us in 32 years where we were present for were still major. And so what does that look like for someone who was incarcerated and removed from that? And so that's where that reentry plan is available to him to help him re-enter society. And then lastly, I know that you look for community support and the victim sentiment. I won't speak on the victim sentiment. I know that they are present and they were present at the last hearing. But what I can say is if you look into the letters of community support, you'll see a letter from the mayor of the city of Donaldsonville, where they talked about, they were aware of the efforts that Mr. Henry had done during his incarceration to improve himself, his conduct, his personal growth, and participation in rehabilitation programs. That mayor did not take just the family's word for it or his record, but it also reflects that he spoke to the victim's family and has confidence that Mr. Henry is ready to re-enter society. And so I think based on the things that you all weigh, Mr. Henry has kind of taken care of everything that he needed to in those 32 years. And we ask for a favorable recommendation with any conditions that y'all deem necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have others in support who are not speaking. We have Mark Dorsey, a cousin-in-law at headquarters. We have Norma Lewis, mother at LSP. We have LaTroy Henry, brother at LSP. We have Tara Lewis, sister at LSP. and Nancy Rocca, a friend at LSP, all in support. And we'll move on to what normally is called the opposition, but it looks like the opposition is in support. So starting with them, we'll hear from Yvette Green first, the system of the deceased victim.
She get green.
Does she have to stand up? She can test, she has trouble standing. She can testify from her chair.
Yes, just turn your chair a little bit around so we could. Yes, that's great. Yeah. That's great. That's good.
Yes, I'm here today. I know that incarceration is for rehabilitation. And I feel that he is really rehabilitated. And I hope you all can grant him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we also have,
I was saying with her.
start with that, no, and you are Shanika?
Shanika, yes, sir.
Shanika Singleton is also here, a victim, sister of the victim who's in support and feels that the offender has been rehabilitated.
Yes.
We also have some guests at LSP for the record, Alejandro Del Angel, a legal intern. We have Chastity Acree, a legal intern, and Bailey Clark, a research assistant. All of those present at LSP. As far as law enforcement goes, we have the judge who's voiced opposition. The DA office had no comment. The sheriff's office had opposition. And the chief of police was not applicable, and the attorney general was not contacted. Your case has been assigned to me. So I really don't have any questions. The team did a great job of explaining things, and the victims do speak heavily, weigh heavily. Unless my colleagues have any questions, no question. All right, Mr. Henry. Today I vote to grant your parole based on time you've been incarcerated, the programs you've completed, no victim opposition, governor's recommendation, and the warden's recommendation. And that's going to be 2 parole projects.
Thank
you. Mr. Tillis?
My vote also is to grant.
Absolutely do.
Ms. Hutchinson referred to my weighting scale, and he meets all of the criteria that I'm looking for a positive reentry. So my vote is to grant to the project.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, board.
All right, so what this means, Mr. Henry, is that today your parole has been granted.
Thank you, sir.
This would conclude our business at 10:23 a.m. at Angola. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Breathe.
Let's keep my
The Committee on Parole is called to order. Today's date is July 15th, 2026. Time is 10:41 a.m. My name is Danny Barra, serving as your chairman today. My colleagues on today's panel are Mr. Tillis to my left, Mr. Ledoux to my right. Panel still working out of Baton Rouge headquarters. Our remote location is Orleans Parish Prison. Is there any staff in the room with you?
Yes,
Would you please, staff, please introduce themselves for the record.
I'm Deputy Carr for Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office.
Thank you very much. All right, today we're gonna have a revocation hearing for Christopher Anders. Mr. Anders, would you please state your full name and DOC number for the record?
My name is Christopher Dimitri Anders, and my DOC number is 606433.
All right. Do you have your parole revocation hearing questionnaire in front of you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Okay, do you recognize your signature is there?
Yes, sir.
Right. And you do have an attorney here, I see, with the Orleans Public Defender Office. All right.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm going to go ahead and read the violations that are against you and ask you for the plea to plead either guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement, or not guilty with a statement. You have a violation of condition number 4. It's alleged that you failed to refrain from criminal conduct as evidenced by your arrest on 2/14/26 by the New Orleans Police Department for simple battery. How do you plead to that violation?
Not guilty, sir. With a statement.
With a statement, okay. Number 10, that you pay parole fees and you are in arrears of $291. How do you plead to that one?
I plead guilty with a statement.
All right. So let's talk about the statements you want to make regarding number 4, the arrest.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, on the arrest, sir, like I said, I didn't touch anyone. My charges were refused, and I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty of the simple battery charge against me, sir.
All right. Well, it appears that the several people made statements, even though they dropped the charges. The violations say that she was walking down the street. You were walking down the street. You attempted to talk to her in an effort to meet her and talk to her. And then when she refused your advances, you got upset and ended up on the ground fighting with her. And that her friends and other bystanders pulled you off. None of that happened?
No, sir. When me and her engaged the conversation, me and her was walking closer to the floats to go see the parade, because it was parade season, to go see the parades. That's when her friends tried to come up behind me to stop me from us walking off. And then, like I said, they was drinking, they had bottles in their hand, and they were just like accusing me of just trying to, like, I guess, take her away from her spot where she's supposed to be. I don't know. And then one thing led to another, and they jumped me, and I just balled up. I didn't swing a lick or nothing. I just balled up on the ground, sir.
With her on the ground, or just you on the ground?
No, it was me on the ground, sir. It was one male, one female that attacked me, but not the victim, but not Miss Bennett, but the other her 2 friends.
Did you know the victim before that day?
No, sir.
You just met her?
I just met her, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, everything was going good. We was walking off to the floats together. Everything was going good until her friends approached. That's when everything went sideways, sir.
She's the friend with. Okay. So we have some other people who was, hold on, number 10. Go ahead and give us your statement about number 10.
On number 10, sir, I was actively looking for a job. I was getting promises of callbacks and stuff like that, and getting emails saying, not at this time, they're sorry, they cannot take me in for the job. Sir, I was actively looking for a job as much as I can. I have lupus to the skin, so I can't really be out in the sun as much. But I was getting rides, and my friends was giving me Ubers and stuff to go to interviews and stuff like that.
I'm looking at the summary of your preliminary hearing that was previously held. And it's down under number 4. It says, she also informed the police officer that he also hit her in the face. The police officer then spoke with the other individuals related to the incident, Miss Lawley Jones, and Miss Jones stated that Mr. Anders was struck trying to get him off the alleged victim. So they're saying that they had to pull you off the victim. And you're still saying that that didn't happen?
No, sir. But by the time the police came, they was already off me talking about what they're going to say. They're friends, sir, and I was alone. So of course they're against me. They didn't want them to go to jail. They know they was in the wrong, sir. Like I said, I just approached the woman, in a flirtatious manner. We walked off to see the floats together and stuff like that. But nah, me striking a woman for nothing because she didn't want to talk to me, nah, so that's absurd.
It turned into a large fight?
Yeah, well on their end, like I said, I balled up on the ground and they were stumping me as the police was coming up and put them off me.
And the victim's also given a different version of what you're saying. It says the victim in this case, Ms. Bennett, informed Officer Adderley that she was walking down the street, at which time Mr. Anders approached her and attempted to talk to her. Ms. Bennett stated that she ignored Mr. Anders. You're saying she walked with you to leave. You're saying she's saying she ignored you. At which point, Mr. Anders tackled Ms. Bennett and struck her in the face. This is Ms. Bennett saying that. None of that happened, what the victims are saying and the witnesses.
I didn't strike nobody in the face, sir. And
Did
she
you
also,
end up,
excuse me?
you end up on the ground with Ms. Bennett?
I was on the ground, so that's what I remember of the day of the incident. 5 months ago, I was on the ground. I was the one getting kicked and stomped on, sir.
And you still think that after hearing what Ms. Bennett said, that she was ignoring you, you still think that she was cooperating and wanting to go with you to the parade?
Like I said, if she would have said no, sir, I would have walked off. Like I get shut down by women. Like when I was single, I used to get shut down by women all the time. I'm young. I don't attack them for ignoring me, sir. That's not nothing I do.
Okay. So we have some people in support of you who want to speak. We'll listen to them and see what they have to say. We have Mr. Coker, a friend who's on Zoom and would like to speak.
Hi. If I may, sorry, is my voice? If I may, sorry, my voice. Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello?
Hello, who are you?
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Kershaw. I am Mr. Anders' attorney with the Public Defender's Office.
Kershaw?
I was wondering if Mr. Larson and myself could go first. I believe his mother is on the call. I also believe that Miss Fortney's on the call and then Mr. Coker. So if we could go in that order, if that would work with the board.
You're Gabrielle Kershaw?
Yes, I'm Mr. Anders' attorney with the Public Defender.
Go ahead, since you're already up, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Give me 1 second here. So,
You want Mr. Larson to go
good
first?
morning. Oh, no, I can go first. I'm sorry. I was just trying to get my things up. Good morning. I'm Gabrielle Kershaw. I want to thank the parole board today for being here. I also want to thank Mr. Anders' support system for being here as well and taking the time to listen to Mr. Anders' case. Today, Mr. Anders and his defense team, which is Brian Larson, who is a licensed social worker with the Orleans Public Defender's Office. We are asking for Mr. Anders to be allowed another opportunity to be back in the community and supervised while on parole. I will let Brian talk more in detail about the release and reentry plan that we do have in place. I would like to give the board a roadmap of what we will be discussing. And the people that are here, I believe you set them on the record already. But his mother is here, Miss James. His girlfriend, Miss Fortney, is here, and also a close friend of his, Mr. J.C. Coker. I first want to talk about who Mr. Anders is as a person, and what he means to the community that he supports. I do want to rehash and crystallize Mr. Anders' version of events. I do want to, as Mr. Anders' attorney, talk about kind of the legal events that have taken place in his case. I do want to touch on some of the things that Mr. Anders may have not touched on when he initially made his statement. And I do want to talk about what his behavior looked like while he was out in the community prior to his arrest in February of 2026. Mr. Anders is a proud father of two. Mr. Anders is a proud father of two. He does have one son and one daughter that he provides for and is an active father figure in their life. As a native of New Orleans, primarily raised in the 7th Ward, Mr. Anders was raised by a single mother who was a young mother herself. She was doing the best that she could. She received a lot of help from her mother, who is Mr. Anders' grandmother. Between those two women, as mentioned in the parole packet, they were pretty much his rock. They were doing the best they could to support Mr. Anders and be that community of support and lead him on the right direction. He did not necessarily have a father figure until he was 9 years old. Mr. Anders did get to have an experience with his father when he was released from prison at 9 years old. However, when his father was released, his father was extremely physically abusive. His father was verbally abusive and emotionally abusive, not only to Mr. Anders, but also Mr. Anders' mother. These are issues that Mr. Anders did not address prior to. And prior to his arrest, he was embarking on, as he did say in his initial statement, he was embarking on resources and programs to help get him on the right track. He was literally on the brink of doing that. I've spoken with those resources that I'll mention in a minute. His grandmother did die in May of 2025, and Mr. Anders was out in the community on parole in June of 2025. So he had missed the death of his grandmother, the person who pretty much helped raise him and was like that second parent. However, his grandmother dying at that time was a huge impact of while he was out during that time, between June of 2025 up until this arrest of February 2026, he was doing what he needed to do. And I will get to that in a minute. Miss Sanders is an only child. And in addition to that, he did not let not having a father figure define his circumstances. He is a father himself, and he's very active in their lives. I'm not sure if the board did receive an addendum that I did receive after I submitted the parole packet. I do have a letter of support from one of the mother of his children. I did email it to the board, and I could just paraphrase what it says. She says, I am writing in support of Christopher Anders and respectfully asking to consider the board reinstating his parole. I have known Christopher personally and have seen many positive qualities in his character. He is caring, respectful, and compassionate person who values his family above all else. While I understand that he had made mistakes that led to his incarceration, I do not believe those mistakes define the man he is today. Christopher is a devoted father to our two sons. And I know I mentioned when I first spoke that he has a daughter and a son. This is a son that she has prior to their relationship that he also took care of. So that son also views Mr. Anders as a father figure. So I just want to clarify that. Even while incarcerated, he has remained committed to being present in their lives, offering them love, guidance, encouragement, empowerment, and emotional support whenever possible. Our children love their father deeply, and I know having him home would mean a meaningful difference in their life. I believe they would greatly benefit from having him continue to raise and support them as they grow. During his time in prison, Christopher has worked in jail, in New Orleans Parish Jail, where he is at now. Christopher has worked to better himself and reflected on the choices that brought him there. He has shown genuine remorse for his past actions and understands the impact they have had on others. I believe he is committed to living a law-abiding, responsible, and productive life if given the opportunity to return to the community. Christopher has always been willing to help others and support those he cares about. He is determined to build his life, continue being a loving father, strengthen his family relationships, and become a positive influence in our community. I believe he has the maturity, determination, and character to make a responsible choice and succeed if the parole is reinstated. I respectfully ask the board to reconsider the progress that Mr. Anders has made and the positive role that he has continued to play in the lives of our children and our family. I have confidence that he will take opportunities seriously and work very hard to build a better future. Thank you for your time and consideration. I wanted to read that one because that was not sent in the initial packet. Before I move on, I do want to also mention that Mr. Anders is a small business owner. He, as mentioned in the parole packet, he is the owner of Charmers LLC, which is a bouncing house business for children, the blow-up bouncing homes. And that was inspired by his own two children throwing parties and events for them and being from New Orleans. I'm in the celebration culture. Mr. Anders did earn his GED in 2024. And lastly, Mr. Anders enjoys being a family man and a productive member of the community. I do want to crystallize and rehash and clarify a little bit the version of events that Mr. Anders was expressing. Mr. Anders did not touch that young lady, Miss Deja Bennett. In February 2026, this is during the parade season of New Orleans Carnival season. He had already previously spoken to Miss Bennett, and he was calling after Miss Bennett to get her number. And they were walking towards the floats. And as he and the lady were walking towards the floats, the two young other people that are mentioned, I assume they're around the same age as Miss Bennett. The two other people that are her friends, they end up coming to Mr. Anders, aggressively raising a glass bottle and pretty much threatening him, like, get away from my friend. Mr. Anders was just trying to ask for this young lady's number. Um, this is at night where there's two or three people against Mr. Anders. He did not physically feel safe. He never intended to cause harm to anyone. There were no weapons found on Mr. Anders. There's no alcohol mentioned. Mr. Anders is not a danger to the community. I do want to say that Mr. Anders does take full responsibility, as he mentioned, and I want to just crystallize it, for engaging in the further argument. There was no battery, but he did say that there was an argument. He was trying to defend himself, and that is pretty much where things got loud and where he got on the ground because they did attack him. He takes full responsibility that he should have disengaged from that encounter as soon as he saw that there was a slight chance of it being loud and boisterous. He should have immediately disengaged, whether he wanted the young lady's number or not. Mr. Anders acknowledges that he is in a current relationship with Miss Fortney. He shouldn't even have been approaching her. We have had that discussion about that during our conversations and during our defense meetings about that. Mr. Anders takes full responsibility for not cutting off the communication. As Mr. Anders' attorney, I do want to move to talking about the legal events that have taken place in his case. On March 13, 2026 of this year, Mr. Anders, the misdemeanor simple battery case was refused. There are a number of reasons why the district attorney of New Orleans makes a decision to refuse the case. In this instance, it was noted that there was an incomplete investigation, which typically means that there was some process in collecting the evidence, statements, what have you, that was not done properly. Maybe one of the complaining witnesses, the alleged victims, was intoxicated herself, or whether it was just not collected timely. There are a number of reasons. In this case, that is, however, the final and general decision that was made. This case is a misdemeanor. It is not a felony. I have also looked at the code, and under the 14-2 statute, this is technically not a crime of violence. And again, I do want to emphasize that Mr. Anderson is not a danger to the community. Not only was the case refused, and this is a misdemeanor, but it's not a crime of violence under the statute that we have in our criminal code. I've talked about the childhood abuse that Mr. Anders has dealt with and has not handled prior to, but he was handling when he was out. Literally at the moment of his arrest, prior to, as he said, he was on the process of getting interviews, working with Job One, which is the employment resource with the city. He was also addressing his mental health. So recently, Mr. Anders had been diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety. I've spoken with his doctor, Dr. McLendon, on Reed Boulevard here in New Orleans. They have confirmed that diagnosis with me. They have also confirmed that Mr. Anders has been staying on top of his mental health with treatment, medication, and consistency. Those are things he was doing prior to February of 2026 when he was arrested. And I do think, in addition to his compliance, which I will talk about in a second, this shows that he was literally trying to pick himself up by the bootstraps. Prior to his arrest, I only knew about his mental health conditions because he told me, and he was like, call my doctor, this is their information. Mr. Anders was partaking in that treatment by himself and addressing his behavioral conditions. I've reached out to Dr. McLendon and I've confirmed. Also, as mentioned in the packet, while working with Job One and working with this city, which is where I want to spend I really want to emphasize, while working with the city, Mr. Anders his parole officer is Carlos Liriano. Officer Liriano and I have had multiple conversations over the course of the past 5 months. And he has expressed to me that Mr. Anders, when he was placed on supervision in June of 2025, was always coming to every single check-in. He was always using Officer Liriano's advice and supervision. What do you think about this job? Well, I'm about to go to this interview. What do you think about this?
What about in June of 21, January 21 of this year, that same officer sanctioned him for being out of state for multiple months without permission.
Correct. So I've spoken with Officer Liriano specifically about that. And what Officer Liriano has expressed to me, and I've also spoken with Mr. Anders, and they both told me pretty much the same thing, that when Mr. Anders was informed that his parole officer was looking for him, that he was not in the state, he immediately came back and actually turned himself in. Officer Liriano, and I believe Officer Liriano wrote notes about that, but what Officer Liriano and Mr. Anders have both explained to me, and it lined exactly, was that when Mr. Anders turned himself in, he apologized, he asked what he could do better, and he did not try to obfuscate or go anywhere else. So he did turn himself in. He immediately came back. So I do want to point that out, and thank you for that. But as I was speaking with Officer Liriano, Mr. Anders, it appears from the conversations that I had between his parole officer, we've spoken multiple times, the conversations that I've had with his support system, and also Brian, our assessments, it looks like Mr. Anders was literally on the brink of pretty much, he had the shoelaces, he was starting to put them up and tie them up in his shoes. We do have a release plan that I will let Brian talk in granular detail about, that address all areas of Mr. Anders' life, from employment to housing, to behavioral, all of the things. Mr. Anders can be trusted in the community. Mr. Anders wants to prove and show that he is a responsible member of the community. He was doing that when he was under Officer Liriano's supervision. That's what I've received from Officer Liriano. And I've really, really encouraged the board, if they need to take a look at the notes of Officer Liriano. Officer Liriano has expressed to me that he still wants to help Mr. Anders. Mr. Anders has been fully compliant and doing what was expected of him from the board, from his parole officer, from his family. Mr. Anders, before I end off, I do want to say that Mr. Anders, prior to his arrest in February 2026, he had been doing the things that he needed to do, taking the strides that he needed to take prior to man up and do what was expected to him, to do what his mother had been telling him. And now with the resources that I'll let Brian speak of, he had never had this many resources before. And I do really want to emphasize that with the community that he grew up in, where he did not get all of the resources and experiences and opportunities as most other children. When I first met with Mr. Anders, he was very transparent with me about what his mentor and mentee relationship looked like with his parole officer. He was like, yes, I keep in contact with him. I am a public defender, so I've represented hundreds of people. There are many times where it is difficult for me to see if a client knows who their parole officer is. Mr. Anders knew exactly who his parole officer was during our very first visit. He's like, call him. He's going to tell you about me. I've never ran from him. And I'm emphasizing this because now that the case is refused, I know there's another question about what does it look like back in the community. And that's the picture I'm trying to paint here. My other experience talking with his support system. He has a mother who loves him so much and that is really dedicated to continue holding him accountable. And Mr. Anders realizes there's nothing more important to him than his family and his freedom. Also, I do want to mention that Officer Liriano was willing to come to this parole board hearing. My understanding is that the times and the dates that were provided, they did not match with his schedule. I understand he supervises lots of other people, but he was willing to come. It has been difficult for me to try to even get a parole officer to even commit to me that like, hey, I'm willing, give me some dates, let me know. So I do want to mention that for the record. I've received a lot of transparency from Mr. Anders' support system, Mr. Anders himself, and his parole officer. I want to implore the board to please take a look at the notes of the consistency and the frequency of the check-ins, the nature of the conversations, and the mentor and the mentee relationship that Mr. Anders was partaking in with his parole officer. Mr. Anders has never missed a check-in or any phone call, and Officer Liriano has expressed that he is willing to help Mr. Anders continue. In addition to his support system and us at the Public Defender's Office, he is willing to help Mr. Anders with the life goals that he was trying to embark on. He can do that while out in the community. So again, his defense team is asking for Mr. Anders to have another opportunity to be supervised in the community. Mr. Anders takes full responsibility for not immediately disengaging and letting that conversation get the best of him and not walking away. Mr. Anders wants to do better. He continues to make progress. My understanding is that
Thank you.
We've got to
All
move on, but yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we'll hear from Mr. Brian Larson with Orleans Public Defender's Office.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I apologize. I'm on the phone. I'm having some internet issues here in the office. But yeah, as you can see, an awful lot of work has been has taken place on Mr. Anders' case. Me and Ms. Kershaw we have took every measure that we could possibly take to put Mr. Anders in the best position for him to succeed. And as Ms. Kershaw said, I've had several opportunities to meet with Mr. Anders as well. And a lot of times when I meet with my clients while they're incarcerated, we often play back the tape, what I could have done better. As a social worker, that's my job to address clients' needs. And as Ms. Kershaw said, Mr. Anders agreed that he could have done better, that he could have disengaged and, just walked away. A lot of times we could escalate situations if we resist. So we kind of like, a lot of times we could resolve an issue by just walking away. But during my assessment with Mr. Anders at OJC, I identified some very important needs, and we discussed, things like substance use and all these different things during the assessment, and so that's why I referred Mr. Anders to CADA Prevention and Recovery, because we talked about maybe his drinking a little bit, and he said that he has been guilty of maybe drinking a little bit on occasions. So I just want to cover that. That may be an underlying issue. So I referred him to a CADA Prevention and Recovery to address the possibility of him drinking a little bit too much, and also to receive anger management classes, just to teach some coping skills to prevent any kind of incident from happening in the future. It's my job just to cover all areas. Another thing that I want to mention is that I got this letter from First 72 Plus. They've met with Mr. Anders on several occasions. They've done intake assessment on him, and I have the letter here, and it's confirming that First 72 Plus has agreed to house Mr. Anders in their transitional housing program, and there he'll receive all kinds of assistance. He would be in these life skill classes. He'll be engaging in 9 steps to staying free classes, and is also mentioned in the letter of my referral to CADA Prevention and Recovery. And the First 72 is a partner that we work closely with. All 3 of these agencies are in close proximity. The First 72 Plus is on Perdido Street, is about maybe 4 blocks away from here. CADA Prevention and Recovery is located in our office on the 9th floor. So, I have an opportunity to engage with Mr. Anders on multiple occasions. Typically, that's what I usually do. My clients are often referred to CADA and First 72, and a lot of times, I drop in and I'm engaging with my clients all the time because they need that ongoing support. I think that we put together a solid plan. I'm gonna actively or proactively be managing Mr. Anders' case to make sure that he succeeds. I believe in him. I believe that he's shown me the motivation to change, and like I said, I think that we put him in the best situation to succeed, with the pieces that I put in place. Yeah, First 72, they're gonna house him for the next 3 to 6 months until he get on his feet. They help with employment and a variety of different other services. And we're here for him. I'm here for him at this office. This is what I do. So yeah, that's all I have for the board. And we hope that the board consider the hard work that we've done to put Mr. Anders in a position to succeed.
And
Thank you.
page
Did you
7
say
of
that you
18 has
housed him for 3 to
details.
6 months?
Yes, I have the street. Well, actually, this is what it is. The first 90 days, he'll be assessed, and if he's doing well, he'll be able to stay for probably anywhere from 6 months to 9 months. They typically don't put people out for 72. He signed this agreement. They went over this agreement with him. He agreed to all the rules and regulations. He is a resident to abide by the curfew at First 72 on Mondays through Thursdays. He must be in the house at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. And on Fridays, he must be in at 12 a.m. He went over all of these things with them. He have to attend these 5 days a week life skill classes from 1 to 3 o'clock, and on and also the 9 steps to staying free. That's weekly on Wednesdays from 11 to 12 o'clock. This is mandatory. This is mandatory, and he must comply with all of these here things to maintain housing. First 72 has been a great partner of this organization. They have people over there who are formerly incarcerated. They do a great job at managing the house and working with our clients. And I'm gonna be working with him as well. Like I said, we're 4 blocks away. I'm often over there at First 72 checking in on my clients. And also CEDRIC Prevention and Recovery is upstairs. I have a great relationship with Melissa Gabriel, the one who wrote that letter. You should have a copy of that from CEDRIC Prevention and Recovery, Melissa Gabriel. He will be going to those classes as well. And everything is close. He's within, he'll be residing at First 72 Plus, which is 4 or 5 blocks away from here. He can get to these classes at CEDRIC Prevention and Recovery. He can check in with me on a regular basis, and I'll be checking on his progress while he's housed at First 72.
Do you have any information that could help me understand why the witness statements, the police reports and everything are so different than his account of it? Doesn't seem like he's taking responsibility. He's saying, I didn't do nothing. I didn't hit nobody. I'm the victim. But everything else says different. And that's my hang-up. Y'all got a good plan, but I got a problem with it. He's not taking responsibility for anything.
Mr. Anders is taking responsibility for, I'll let him speak, but he's taking responsibility for approaching the young lady. He's not, discounting that he spoke to her. It was that he did not hit her. He was trying to get her number. These friends come up. So he does acknowledge that there was an argument. So he has taken full responsibility. I believe I will let Mr. Anders speak, but I just wanted to clarify.
To hear from him again.
And also, let me just add something like Christopher said, they are all friends. And in some cases, a lot of times we see that friends normally agree with each other in cases like this. But let him talk about that.
So the group was friends that were fighting amongst each other? I thought they were strangers.
All 3 of these people were friends. They are all friends.
They knew each other, not Mr. Anders.
Right? They're all friends with each other, but not friends with him. So he was the outsider in the group?
Correct.
That's correct.
They're strangers, correct. But Mr. Anders, if you would like to say something.
Yes. I sincerely regret the harm I caused. I want to say I take full responsibility leading up to my arrest. I sincerely regret the harm I caused. I understand the impact of my decisions on my family and on my community. I understand trust is something that is earned. I understand that. And I apologize if I seem to be testing that trust. But again, I'm sorry, no, but I do take full responsibility for leading up to my arrest. Like I should have disengaged from the argument. But they was arguing with me, claiming like I was doing something wrong when I'm trying to explain to them I'm not doing nothing wrong. That's what the argument came in. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like, what is the problem? I was trying to get down to the problem. You know what I'm saying? What was going on? That's why we was arguing back and forth.
I'm not even there. And I can tell you the problem was she didn't want to talk to you and you were pushing yourself on her. That was the problem. You didn't figure that out yet? That's the problem. She didn't want to talk to you.
Like I said, it wasn't her that had the problem. It was her friends who had the problem. Her friends who came up on us at first.
She has a problem.
Excuse me?
But that's good. We're good. Yeah. I'll move for executive session.
A second.
Parole.
Yes.
Tillis.
Yes.
Ledoux.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Executive session, and we still have a couple of people in support to hear from. Let's next hear from Latanya James, offender's mother.
She's on.
That's- You're on mute.
Yes, good morning. I'm Vantonia Anders James, Christopher Anders' mother. I'm speaking on my son's behalf. I'm sure somebody's trying to call me. I'm sorry, someone's trying to call. I'm trying to speak on my son's behalf to say that Christopher, hello?
We can hear you.
Okay, I see different people clicking in. I'm speaking on his behalf to say that my son has came home this time doing better than he was doing before. Like I said, he had problems dealing with the incident he was arrested with. That's why he started seeing the doctor for his mental is situation issues. That he will hear certain things dealing with the car wreck that got led him to his problem. This time here, he was home. He was with the family, spending time with his family, his friends, and his kids. He would take his boys to ball games, play video games with them. He was looking for employment. He got frustrated a couple of times, not able to find employment. He was grieving too because he lost his grandmother. His grandmother had passed May 4th, 2024, before he was released. And he grieved about that a lot because him and her were more closer than I. And he loved his grandmother, and I know he loved me too, but he was real close with his grandmother. And he grieved, but he still got over the grieving, like I said. And he mentioned to me about the abuse with his daddy that I didn't know about. He had issues with that, and like I told him, he couldn't let that take over who he were because he was a good child. He's a good person. He came home, he would cut my grass, he would help the neighbors, he would do all that he can do for anyone. Um, his kids, the community, the job, looking for a job. He would try to do side jobs. Like my fiance, he do auto body work, but he would try to help him, but it was slow that he couldn't pay him, but he still would try to help him. He put applications in. I would bring him to try to find a job. His friends would try to bring him to try to find a job. And I don't think that he's a risk to the community. I know he's not a risk to the community. Um, he, Me and him spoke several times while he was incarcerated. This time, for parole violations, the other time before, and when he was home. And I know he was really trying. And like I told him, sometimes, you try to succeed things in life and it don't happen how we planned it. I know you're looking for a job. And he tried to go to Atlanta where someone promised him where he can try to get some kind of employment. He was like, he tried to do things for his kids for Christmas. He wanted to do something for them. I haven't done things for them for a while. I need, and he still did it, but when they called for him, he came back. He made sure that they had Christmas, they had things for school, that they had the things that they need. And like I told him, that was not a good idea, but he wanted to do things to try to help his kids, to try to show them that he could stand up as a man, because the jobs that he was putting applications in saying that he needed experience, they were turning them down, telling them they're gonna call him, but they would never call him. And I sent them on jobs, and I would go with him and wait outside while he come in. He was excited. Oh my, I think this is gonna be the one. I think I can learn how to cook. I'm gonna be a chef. Not a chef, but help a chef be a prep. In this kitchen, or I can do this and I can do that. And I kept trying to motivate him. I say, sometimes, baby, things may not work out in your favor, but don't give up. Don't give up in life. The devil trying to pull you back, but it's gonna be okay. So, he made mistakes in the past, like I said, but this time he really was trying to do better, And like I said, he started drinking with the grieving every now and then. He'd thank his grandmother, he'd start crying and he'd break down, and he had his emotional time. And that's when I would come in and talk with him, and we would have our moments and think about her, and we'll hug and we'll talk about it. And that's when he'll try to spend more time, like I said, with his kids. Like I said, your dad wasn't in your life and he did the wrong things, but he's gone. You have to forgive him for that. Move forward, do better with your kids. Be a part of your kid's life. His dad was in and out of prison, and he wasn't there for him. He didn't have a father figure. He didn't have my dad or uncles or anyone that helped. It was only me, him, and my mom. And me and my mom did the best that we could. We spoiled him, yes, we did. But we try to give him all the love that we could and support that he could in life. And like I said, I don't know what to say, but as a mother, I love my child. I'm not giving up on him. I will never give up on him. And I thank Mr. Brian and his attorney for these programs and stuff that they're trying to help him with. Like I said, if he had to come home to stay with me, I'm not in Orleans, I'm in St. Bernard Parish, but he's always welcome there. I would never give up on my child. I would be there with him 100%, and things in life that he did wrong, he have admitted and tried to do better. Yes, he has.
Thank you. All right, thank you. We also have Mr. Coker who would like to speak.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. My name is J.C. Coker III. With respect to your time, I'll try to be concise. I think it's hard to give someone another chance when all you have before you is the wrongs they've done or been accused of, when you can't also see the good or how far they've come. But I've known Chris for some time, and the person that he is now compared to when I first met him, he's come a very, very long way. And I've seen good sides of him. When my father died, he was one of the only friends that stuck around and didn't encourage me to go out and party or distract myself, but actually work through it. And I've also, over the years, especially in the past year, between June and February, seen his heart soften. It's easy in a hard world to become hardened. It's also easy in a world full of liars to become a liar. But Chris is an incredibly honest person, in my opinion. That's something about his character I value. And in recent times, I've also seen him be honest with himself about his life, his actions, their consequences, what he wants to do with that life. And I want to also be clear, personal accountability is important, but I think sometimes we become attached to who we used to be or the places we used to go, and we'll put ourselves in environments where there are no good decisions to make. You end up in situations like this one. And it took me a long time to come to the realization that I had to completely change my environment, who I hung out with, the places I would go. And I think that's a realization that Chris has come to. And, finding a support system, a solid one, and learning the value of that, it takes a while. And I think he's finally come to a place where that's what he has. And I would like to see him have the chance to use it to his advantage and to do good. I happily wrote that letter, and I'm here speaking before you now, not only because Chris is my friend, but I believe him to be a decent human who wants nothing more than to live a good, lawful life, and moreover, that he's of the heart and mindset now to do so, to not end up back here. It takes a little time to make all the necessary changes, And sometimes you have to make them a little faster than you thought. You do have to completely change who you're around or what places you go. And it's hard to let go of friends and places because that's who you were. That's a version of yourself that wasn't best for you. And I think it takes time. It takes coming to something like this to realize that's what you have to do. And that's the important progress that I know he's made. I do believe he's got good people around him now and the wisdom to know what that's worth. And I'm confident as someone who knows him and has for quite some time that he's not going to put himself in the position to make the same mistakes. With respect to your time, I think that's the things that I really wanted to say and wanted you to know about Chris. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Record also reflects that we have a Mashia Forty, his girlfriend, who's in support but does not want to speak today. So that brings us to the conclusion, the vote. Today, I'm going to vote first since the case is assigned to me. In lieu of revocation, I'm going to order you to complete the Steve Hall substance abuse treatment, followed by the First 72's plan. And upon release from First 72, you go live with your mother. That's going to be my recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I concur with Mr. Ballroy. Ms. Legend?
My vote is to revoke.
Thank you. All right, by a vote of 3-2, you're going to be sent to Steve Hall for treatment. And then you're going to go to work the plan with Mr. Larson them. And then when you finish with them, you're going to live with your mother for a little while. And stay in contact with the parole officer.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
This would conclude our business today at Orleans Parish Prison at 11:34 a.m.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Committee on Parole is called to order. Today's date is July 15, 2026. My name is Andy Barra, serving as your chairman. To my left is Mr. Tillis, to my right, Ms. Ledoux. The panel still held at headquarters in Baton Rouge. Our remote location is still Orleans Parish Prison. We are here for a parole hearing on a revocation hearing from Willie Jackson. Mr. Jackson, would you please give us your DOC number and full name for the record?
Good morning. 254-7040. I don't know my DOC number.
I think that's
my ID number at this jail.
628167. How does that sound?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have your parole revocation questionnaire in front of you?
Yes, sir.
You recognize your signature and you remember going over that with your officer? That determines that you're not eligible for an appointed attorney for this hearing. But we can continue with the hearing. Mr. Tillis.
He has the appointment.
Sorry, good morning. My name is Shannon Matthew. I represent Mr. Jackson.
Yeah.
How you doing, Ms. Shannon?
All right, we have an appointed attorney. All right. So Mr. Tillis is going to read the violations against you and ask you for a plea for each one. And you can respond by guilty, not guilty, guilty with the statement, or not guilty.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing okay.
Good, good. Violation number 4. Subject was arrested by the New Orleans Police Department on 12/20/25 for second-degree murder and resisting an officer. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or with the statement?
Not guilty.
With the state?
Yes. Not guilty.
Okay, tell us what happened.
I was mistaken identified from a female due to me hanging with the wrong person.
Okay, would his attorney like to say something on his behalf?
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak on behalf of Mr. Jackson. I have had the honor and privilege of representing Mr. Jackson since his arrest, I believe on December 10th, 2025. Mr. Jackson was arrested for attempt second-degree murder and resisting an officer. In my memorandum, I cite the reasons as to why Mr. Jackson is completely innocent of these charges. For example, for the attempt second-degree murder charge, the district attorney's office refused the charge because the survivor refused to prosecute. Not that the survivor was unlocatable, but that they refused to prosecute. This is a person who survived a stabbing. I believe in the arrest warrant, it was 10 to 15 times that this person was stabbed, and that the New Orleans Police Department looked at cell phone footage and surveillance footage from the French Quarter. This is New Orleans. This is a highly surveilled city where there's Project NOLA, RTCC footage of everything that's going on in the French Quarter. And Mr. Jackson was alleged to have been the perpetrator of the stabbing. However, the New Orleans Police Department, they got a search warrant for his Instagram. They got the surveillance footage. And with this independent, neutral evidence, the district attorney's office still refused these charges. And I believe that is because Mr. Jackson is completely innocent. He is not the perpetrator. In the mitigation memorandum, I put the social media screenshots of a person who was there, Mr. Tyron, who was engaged in this altercation. And in his social media, Mr. Jackson is not one of those people from September 15th, 2025. I'm not sure, because this charge got refused, if there was an identification procedure done where they did an identification procedure with the survivor, where the survivor said Mr. Jackson was not the person who stabbed him. And again, if even with a survivor refusing to prosecute, again, the state has an immense power of accepting charges, whether it was degree murder or aggravated battery, especially if it's on footage, that they would have accepted the charges, no matter what it was, if Mr. Jackson was that person. Regardless if the survivor wanted to prosecute or not. And as the board knows, I've seen you multiple times previously. I've been working with the public defenders for 5 years. I've gone to trial on victimless cases where survivors have refused to prosecute, and crimes on video. Again, if the state had any indication that Mr. Jackson was the perpetrator in this, they would have accepted these charges. With that being said, I delved even more deeper into the resisting an officer arrest. That charge is accepted. It's set for a judge trial in August. Mr. Jackson was arrested in the French Quarter. He had just gotten off of work, and troopers, the Louisiana State Police, in all black in tactical gear, ran after Mr. Jackson, deployed his tasers. Mr. Jackson was in fear. He shouldn't have run away. However, once he was apprehended and handcuffed, he fully cooperated with the police. And I did note that he did make a statement to police saying he knew he was wanted, but that they were saying, the news media was saying that he was wanted for stabbing a woman. I included that news article in the mitigation memorandum, and it is not a woman who was stabbed. The arrest warrant and police reports indicate that it was a man, and it was an altercation between people. If Mr. Jackson had any indication of who was stabbed, he would have told the police that. With regard to a plan moving forward, Mr. Jackson is so supported by his family, his friends, his community. His manager and supervisor, Alice, where he was working, has written a letter of support. But Mr. Jackson recognizes that, New Orleans, the French Quarter, is not the place to be, especially on someone who is on parole. And he wants to change that. He wants certification in forklift driving. He's going to live with his father in Marrero, Louisiana. He just yesterday, the first 72 plus did an intake on Mr. Jackson, and he's eligible for any and all of their services, whether that's housing, employment, case management, keeping up with his parole and probation. He's also interested, and he's done what he could incarcerated with his access to a tablet, of getting certification in anger management classes, doing whatever that was recommended, which I believe was a 12-step recovery, even though Mr. Jackson doesn't have any addiction to substances. He just wants to improve himself. Also, I would note that when Mr. Jackson was arrested, he didn't have any weapons on him whatsoever. He, again, didn't have any contraband or any drugs or paraphernalia on his person. He has spent 218 days reflecting on the reasons why he was arrested, why he's been brought here. It's a change of pace, of lifestyle, and for him to continue being a devoted father, someone who wants to better himself. He just turned 30 years old in June, just a couple weeks ago, and he spent that incarcerated. His sister is here, April Jackson, to also be a support system for him and to speak on his behalf.
Thank you so much.
Are you a sixth felony offender?
No, ma'am. I don't think so. A 6.
Well, I've been 30 years old is what I have. Go ahead.
Okay, let's hear from Miss April Jackson, his sister.
Yes, how you doing?
Fine, how are you? Tell us what you'd like us to know about your brother.
I believe like once he got out the last time, he was on the right track of, becoming a better father. Got him a job. He enjoyed his job, enjoyed working, and, you know, just being around his kids and around his family. I mean, I believe I seen like the progress of him getting better and working on himself, but I guess he got caught up the wrong place, the wrong time.
Thank you so much. Is your sister Samantha, Miss Samantha Jackson with you, or?
No, she said she couldn't log on.
Okay, she can log on. Okay, thank you so much. Any of my colleagues have any questions they want to ask?
Do. Mr. Jackson, were you placed in lockdown during this current time of incarceration?
I've been on exit in a cell by myself. It's like protected custody because this jail it is like really violent and I didn't want to get in no more trouble. So I told them to put me in a cell by myself. So I'm on exit, I guess segregation.
Is there anybody in the verify this? Because I have these.
They have an officer right here now.
I need to understand his level of custody right now. He's in a lockdown because of behavior.
Yeah, he's on essay 23-1.
I'm sorry. Can you say that?
He's on essay 23-1. He only comes out for an hour.
That's what?
He only comes out for an hour.
Why is he on that?
I'm not sure.
I need to know why he is in segregated cell.
It's a different lockdown is lockdown and segregation is protected custody. Like I didn't want to be around other people on the regular tip, so they put me on exit. I'm not on lockdown because I could come out my cell, use the phone, use the tablet, and make commissary. On lockdown, you can't do none of that. I didn't go on exit. You go on lockdown for behavior. I've been totally like good in this jail. I just wanted to protect myself from the other inmates.
Here.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of stabbings at the jail and a lot of people get hurt.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's vote if you don't have any questions. Yeah. All right. Yeah. No. All right. Well, that's all the questions we have for you. It's time to vote. Mr. Tillis says, Mr. Tillis says it's signed the case. You get to vote first. My vote is going to be to do not revoke with conditions that you go through first 72.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's what I do.
My vote would be to send you to, in lieu of revocation, transitional work program for 6 months. And then upon release, go to first 72.
I could read my letter that I wrote.
I had attached your letter to the memorandum, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, I was able to read.
All right. And I'm going to also vote with Ms. Ledoux to in lieu of revocation, in other words, not revoke you, and refer you to the transitional work program for 6 months, and then followed up by the first 72 program.
Now, I want to clarify, Mr. Jackson,
Yes, ma'am.
were you in the French Quarter at all during that time?
Yes, ma'am. I work in the French Quarter.
You
That's
were?
the only reason why I be in the French Quarter, because I had a job I got a job my first 2 weeks home. I've been working the whole time. Like I didn't get in no trouble. I didn't like nothing. I walked a clear path.
I'd like to go into executive session. Can we
Okay.
do that?
Second.
Barbara,
Approved. Yeah.
Ledoux,
Yeah.
Tillis.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, okay. You have a forklift certification, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And I have a license that I got when I was incarcerated.
Yeah.
And I have a job lined up with my older cousin. He's a supervisor at a plant that I want to go into Avondale. It's like a shipyard. And I really want to go work on a forklift to provide for my children and my family.
Living in a different parish than Orleans?
Jefferson Parish.
Okay, so you'd be living in Jefferson. Are you currently living in Orleans or Jefferson?
I'm living in Jefferson Parish.
You're living in Jefferson Parish.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm trying to get you away from the French Quarter. I'm just being real honest, okay?
Oh, I promise, ma'am, you don't have to worry about me going to the French Quarter no more, because I was working, but the crowd around is negative,
You're a
but
six
I was
felony.
working, making money, but the crowd is, so I'm trying to go do the forklift. That's my goals.
Okay.
And
I'm going to change my vote to do not revoke, that you cannot work in the French Quarter. Okay.
yes,
You gotta get in trouble.
thank you so much, ma'am.
His is do not revoke.
I didn't in the first, or you recommended for 72. Okay, I changed my vote to concur with Ms. Ledoux.
Yes, ma'am. And soon as I get released, the first 72 right around the corner, so I'm gonna go there first.
It's in Orleans or it's in Jefferson?
It's in Orleans. It's right around, so it's like I could walk there from here. It's like a 1 block away from here. So when my ride come get me, I could stop there and then go home.
And got to get out of Orleans, okay? You understand what I'm saying, the attorney?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes, the first 72 is around, he's saying the first 72 is around the corner of the jail. He's going to check in with them and then go straight to his father's place in Marrero.
Yeah, we got to get.
How does that work with first 72?
So, they will give the resources to Mr. Jackson once he checks in. He's already done an intake. So once they give the resources to him, he will go to Marrero and then stay there, continue to check in with his parole officer, and then and let his parole officer know where he's working. He knows that no French Quarter. If he does come to Orleans, it's just to go to the first 72.
All right. So I'm gonna concur with that too. Do not revoke backup plan first 72, first plan to go and get a forklift operator job in Avondale.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you so much.
That would conclude our hearing today at 12:01. Good luck to you.